A California dad has gotten a temporary restraining order against a 4th grader. He says threatened his son with a knife at school. Robert Castile called the Riverside County Sheriff's Department and they confiscated a small pocket knife from the boy. He was suspended for 5 days, which Castile feels is not enough punishment. He says his 10-year-old son was terrified to go to school, so Castile got the restraining order to keep him safe. Sheriff's officials say they've never seen a restraining order against someone so young involving school grounds. The Riverside County District Attorney is now reviewing the case. So what's your take on this? Do you feel the school district took the case seriously enough? Or was the dad in the right in taking a zero-tolerance policy and getting that restraining order?
All right, we have Shan Man here from 98 KUPD, and we have to keep in mind, police did find a 2-inch knife on this kid.
A 2-inch knife. Second of all, it's another school story you brought up for me. So, you know, this is something that I've always found interesting, especially when I was a teacher. And zero tolerance in the school, I believe, needs to be enforced constantly. Whether you bring a gun, you bring a knife, you bring whatever, it's like automatic expel. That's all I think you need to be doing. But for whatever reason, those rules get bent all over the place because they don't want to upset parents on either side. But I remember as a kid, you know, I mean, I think we've all been bullied at one point or another. And when a kid says, you know, I'm going to get you after school, that's
it's
frightening.
terrifying.
That's terrifying. I mean, you don't want to be, you fear for yourself, and especially with someone who has a knife.
And with all of the cases of school violence over the past, you know, decade, it's just, you have to take everything seriously. This cannot be treated as a slap on the wrist.
Yeah, what is it going to take? I mean, think about it. You had an issue like Columbine. Is it going to, are we going to have to go back to something that is so dreadfully horrible where another kid, you know, a kid gets killed or masses of kids get killed because of one, you know, you didn't follow your policy of zero tolerance.
You know, in covering the news for nearly 15 years, I have to tell you, I can't tell you how many times I've covered the story of a letter being sent home to parents tonight after a child brought a gun or a knife to school. And just recently, I think it was 2 weeks ago, we had an incident on a school bus in Mesa where a gun discharged. Where gun discharged. So there is a serious line to all of this, and it certainly has changed from whenever I was back in school, and it was going to meet you at the bike racks after school. It was a fist fight, you know, kind of like The Outsiders back in the day with Ponyboy Curtis. But those days are long gone. I want you to tell me more about your experience in the classroom. Whenever we talk about the age, we're talking about a 10-year-old here. Is this a viable situation? Is this serious enough?
You taught high school.
I mean, I taught high school.
You taught high school.
I taught high school, but I think it should apply from K to 12, no matter what. I mean, that rule needs to be locked down, applied every time. Kids at, you know, 10 years old, they don't know what they're doing. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, and I mean, sorry, Mom, if I bring this up, but I mean, you know, I remember seeing my dad's pistol, and I grabbed it, and they weren't home, you know, and but I knew in my better sense that I should not grab the pistol. Even though the pistol was, you know, way up high, you know, I should not have, you know, done that. I think parents need to either find safes or they need to be checking their children's bags. Just, you know, my parents were always good about that, making sure I had my homework, I had no weapons, nothing of the sort, because they just wanted me to grow up to be a, you know, a decent human being and not be a threat to anything.
Was 5-day suspension enough? Very quickly, then we got to get to comments.
I don't think so at all. I think it should have been some type of he should have been expelled.
He should have been, I believe he should have been expelled. And it falls back, you know, on the parents. Okay, so this kid was maybe 10 years old, but the parents, where were you? How did you let your kid get a hold of this weapon, you know? So, all right, well, Debbie Davis Hinton writes, with all the young students having access to guns, etc., you never know what a threat will lead to. Good for him in protecting his family.
Carolyn Ashley sounding off on this issue, saying absolutely, if there's any reason to be concerned about a child's safety, never take any chances. Kids can be cruel.
And Susan says absolutely he did the right thing. If nothing else, there is a record in case something does happen or if the 4th grader is violent to others in the future. And Mara Rivera writes,
if a child brings a knife to school and threatens another student, she should not be allowed back. Why is it the victim's responsibility to do everything in their power to be safe at school? Great point right there.
Yeah, really. And most everyone was saying, no, this kid has to go. This is unacceptable. Zero tolerance.
I mean, that puts not only students in danger, that puts teachers in danger, it puts staff in danger. I mean, this topic is very touchy for me because I believe in the zero tolerance at schools, and schools I know sometimes do not follow that rule, even when it's in a handbook.
You can't learn if you are in fear.
Right.
School should equal safety.
All right.
In addition to education.
I know, I feel like I need to be a referee and throw a flag.